Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Peregrination podcast. Today's episode is episode number 2, and my name is Jason.
And I'm Raj.
And we're here to talk to you about the wonders of traveling and all the awesome things we're doing and just our perspective on our crazy life.
So this has been a very hectic week for us this week.
Yes, we've been pretty busy.
Doing a lot of things, being very active.
That's
we
right.
went to yoga class. Let's see, I think it was 3 times?
3 times, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
quite an experience.
Right on, yeah. It was. It's pretty good. I am so horribly inflexible that yoga class has actually been pretty good for me. And didn't you just break a milestone in your yoga class this week?
A milestone?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, before I started yoga class, I couldn't touch my toes without bending my knees. And the incredible thing is, after 3 yoga classes, I was touching my toes without bending my knees, no problem.
That's awesome.
That really is, isn't
Yeah.
it?
That day for me is like 100 years away, it seems, at this point.
Yeah,
I feel like no difference in yoga class at all. I feel stronger, like I can hold myself up and do the poses because I'm like used to doing it. Because we've done like, 8 yoga classes or something by now? 7? Something like that. Anyway, but yeah, I'm not feeling any stretchy difference, I guess, yet. But you, super flexible.
Not super flexible. I am probably the least flexible girl in the class, but I am more flexible than the guys. There are a few guys in our class. I think there's like a handful, 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, except for one guy who has probably been taking yoga classes like forever, all the other guys are like totally struggling with the flexibility. And it's kind of funny watching them, but I mean, they're trying so hard. Like, these are guys who have lots of muscles, but when it comes to balance and flexibility, it just looks so funny. And on that note, I was thinking that balancing is like the hardest thing in yoga class. I feel like I really get thrown off because of balance myself.
Mm-hmm. Well, you need like a really strong core and like, really strong like secondary kind of muscles to be able to like hold yourself and do all the positions. But it's even worse when you can't be like as flexible as say like the teacher, because say like the teacher's like grabbing her foot and holding it out and then able to like pose on the one foot. Well, that like position kind of gives you like a little bit of stability, like puts your center of gravity somewhere. But if you can't like grab in the same way, then you don't get that same center of gravity and you have to work even harder to hold yourself up. And speaking of working hard, man, that class is so hot. There's no air conditioning. The fan super sucks, and it's like in this closed room. Like there's this thing called hot yoga, right? Where they put you in like a really hot room and they like turn up the heat. They don't need to do that here because, man, I start sweating halfway through the class. Like my mat is just like soaking wet.
I mean, I've thought about whether it was actually a hot yoga class myself.
Right, yeah.
Like, if they're purposely keeping it really, really hot.
Yeah.
But the thing I wanted to say was that in yoga class, it's really inspiring looking at other people and just because the class is fairly big. I would say there's about 12 people.
At least, yeah.
At least. And then, not everybody is like super flexible.
Right.
And it's a combination of Thai people and foreigners.
Yeah.
So even though we don't know Thai, it's easy enough to follow along.
Right, yeah.
And get really inspired by other people and just keep at it. And it doesn't matter. It's like an individual thing. You just have to just focus on yourself. It gives you that time and opportunity to focus on your body and just try your best. It's not a competition with anyone. And that's why I love yoga class. It just gives me some, shall I say, downtime to really get centered and just try my best at working on my body.
Right on. So speaking of keeping balanced in yoga, we've been trying to keep our, work and personal lives balanced here in Chiang Mai. So we've been actually meeting a lot of people.
Yes, if you come to Chiang Mai and you're seeking to meet people, it is not a problem at all. There are so many ways to easily find so many people to meet. And when I mean by so many, I mean so many
Yeah.
that you don't even have time to talk to everyone.
Absolutely. You could easily meet hundreds of people within a couple weeks. I mean,
Your whole weekly schedule could be full with seminars and workshops and social activities, meeting so many people that you really have to discipline yourself to do any kind of work if you have
absolutely.
some kind of work to do.
I mean, we've met so many people and gone out and just, and, there's constantly people coming and going because, there aren't that many. I mean, there are people here who stay long term, but like this is also, as we've mentioned before, like a hub for digital nomads and travel bloggers and stuff. So there's constantly people like coming in and out. So there's always new people to meet and all this stuff. So it can get pretty crazy. I'm terrible with names and just trying to remember everybody we meet. It gets pretty nuts sometimes.
So Jason, what would you say is some of the best ways to meet people here in Chiang Mai?
Well, definitely one of the best ways is still good old Facebook.
Right.
There are lots of groups.
Right.
There's all these groups trying to meet up and publishing events and their group things, and you just have to join, and everybody's really friendly. It's easy to get in there. But the key thing is when you join, you can chit chat on Facebook, but you actually have to go. There's nothing like really meeting the people in person and shaking their hand, looking them in the eye. Getting the real human interaction. I mean,
that just adds on. That just makes it more real. You feel okay. Now I have a face to this name.
Right, and then I guess what I'm trying to say is that the Facebook supplements the actual meeting of the real person in real life. So yeah, meeting people on Facebook is good. How else can we meet people?
I just wanted to jump in and say that if you're specifically looking to meet people in Chiang Mai and you're new here, you may want to check out the Chiang Mai travel bloggers on Facebook. Also, there's a digital nomad group, which is very friendly, as Jason said. Those two groups are huge. There are thousands of people, hundreds of people there. So, yeah. Sorry, Jason, What did you ask me?
I asked you, how else can we meet people?
Well, another way to meet people is like if you are interested in, I don't know, like say your activity is like going to the gym, or you like swimming or yoga, those social activities, like anywhere in the world, there is ample opportunity to meet people like that. Like, for example, when we were at the gym, it was hilarious. We had just finished yoga class, and we basically had a reunion with people who we never met for a week, right?
Right.
At the gym.
Yes.
So it's like, you'll see the same faces over and over again because the Neiman Haman area is fairly small. And the chances of bumping into someone whether it's at the mall or it's at a coffee shop or a gym, it's very, very likely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of those places, even when you're working, is still a chance to meet people. If you go to the camp workspace at the Maya Center, there's lots of people there. And, someone sits down beside you, you can, start a little conversation if you want. Just be like, hey, what's up? It's easy to meet people, and a lot of people go there regularly, so you'll see them again and again, and it's it's even easy to talk to people there. Some people don't mind a little break from their work. Obviously I'm sure everybody doesn't, but I haven't run into anybody who isn't willing to like chat for a minute or two. So.
And just for those of you who don't know, camp is a co-working space.
That's
in
right,
Chiang Mai, and there are many
co-working spaces around. So unless I'm sure you can tell when people are super serious into their work, or maybe if they have headphones on, you don't want to interrupt or whatever. But other than that, I mean, just give it a try.
You don't want to be like, hey, what's up, girl? And people are really into their stuff. They're working really hard. And that is also, again, very inspiring to see people working so hard at their projects.
Absolutely. So yeah, but that work can be tough to balance with all the meeting and social stuff that is available to do. One of the social things we have done this week, though, is we actually went to the Sticky Waterfalls.
The Sticky Waterfalls is a place which is for both locals and tourists. It's a waterfall, but the unique thing is that you can climb up the waterfall. Why is that, Jason?
So the waterfall, normally when you go see the waterfall, it's down all these rocks and the water's moving, and there's like, maybe algae all over the rocks. It's pretty slippery, but not these waterfalls. There's some kind of mineral deposit, I guess, that's being left by the water, and it makes these kind of rocks, but where the water is flowing really fast, there's not really any algae able to grow there for some reason. So you can actually get a footing and use your hands and feet to like grab and climb, and you can actually climb up the waterfall.
When Jason told me about these sticky waterfalls and he was trying to explain to me how you can climb up these rocks, I was just like, yeah, right. This is not really going to happen. So when we got to these waterfalls, I'm like looking up and they look pretty intimidating because the water is pretty rough looking to me and the rocks seem really, really big to me. And I'm thinking, I'm going to climb this? And I'm very cautious when I'm like climbing rocks. So Jason encouraged me. And I tried, and I couldn't believe how easy it was to just climb those rocks. Yeah. It really was.
It was not that hard at all. I mean, there's like basically 3 kind of levels, but 2 are accessible, I guess, by like a kind of a path, a set of stairs going down. And if you want to get down to the 3rd level, you kind of have to crawl down the rocks of the waterfall itself. But it's about, how far was it from Chiang Mai? Like an hour and a half?
Yeah, 1 hour.
Yeah, so you get there and you just kind of go down the stairs right there. So it's really easy to get to, and then you can just jump right into the waterfall and start climbing. So it's really easy to get there and really easy to just get up and get going right in them. They're not big, huge waterfalls. We're not talking like Niagara Falls or Angel Falls or anything like that. It's, a few meters high. And it's not like straight vertical or anything, but it's really nice, really easy to do.
I'm working on a video about these waterfalls, so if you guys are totally interested, you guys can check out the video. It will be posted on YouTube.
Yeah, probably soon. Later this week.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be our next video. So it's fun. You can climb up there, get a little wet, have a little fun. We went with a group of people, like we were saying, and it was a good time.
Yeah, and that was one of the most fun things about the trip, was going with a group of people.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to talk about what it feels like for us to actually travel and go to places with a large group. There were, I think, 17 of us all together. And usually when we travel, we've been on tour groups and we have already decided that that's not our cup of tea.
Right, yeah.
But this time we traveled with a large group, but a group of friends. Mm-hmm. And it was a totally different experience for us.
Absolutely. We've made a few friends along the way, and usually there's like 2 to 3 other kind of friends that we've gone with sometimes. Well, not usually, but sometimes. And usually when you go in a tour group, you meet people in it and stuff, but usually the group is very big and, being directed somewhere. But this was just kind of like an independent group thing, like you would do at home almost, like go with your friends for dinner or
right.
Go to some kind of event, hockey game or something like that, right?
So did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It was kind of fun, actually. Everybody got together. We just hung out for a bit, and everybody seemed to have a good time, I thought. So.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And that is also a really great benefit of meeting a lot of like-minded people. You do activities that you all enjoy, and on top of that, it costs a lot of money if you're going to venture all the way to the sticky waterfalls by yourself. And I would honestly say, I don't know if I think it would be worth it to go that distance and pay that much money if it was just the 2 of us.
Right, yeah, we got like a Soundcloud for, what was it, 1,200 or something like that?
Well, each person ended up paying 135 baht.
Right.
No, sorry, was it
135 baht, yep. And there was, I think, like 13, 14 people in the whole thing.
Well, that took that form of transportation, yeah.
You can rent a motorbike and take it out there. That would probably be cheaper than renting your own Songtao. But, when you get a group together, just you divide it up, it becomes way cheaper and definitely a lot more worth it. So, and there's no admission to the park or anything.
That's right.
So. Yeah. You just kind of roll in and do it.
Anyways, it was a lot of fun. It was awesome. The sticky waterfalls. And if you ever plan on going to those, I would totally recommend that you go with a group of friends.
Yeah.
Just makes it that much better.
Yeah. But you can go by yourself. You just go there. I would say bring a snack, though. It's still, like I said, it's an hour outside the city. So you're going to probably, by the time you're done climbing around and having fun, you are going to want to eat when you're done.
How did you find it coming down? I was terrified. I will admit it that I just kind of walked down the steps. I did not go down the rocks. I was just looking down. I was just like, this is not my thing. I'm not going down.
Yeah, coming down is always a little bit harder, I find. But it's not that slippery. But still, I have this mental thing in my head where rocks are slippery. So I felt very cautious. Have to test each one kind of thing. But yeah, it wasn't too bad coming down. It wasn't as easy as going up. I mean, it was, yeah, super easy to go up. But yeah, I did the same thing with you a couple times. I just walked down the path instead, especially because, you get all the way to the top, you can just walk around.
That's okay. Sometimes you just gotta play it safe.
Yeah, but getting back up to the top, just went all the way up there. It was fine. So I also had something else I wanted to talk about. Speaking of going to places, I found this article online about Instagram photos. Yeah. I don't know, did you check it out yet?
Yeah, I totally did. It was about fake photos.
Yeah, so basically there's like a lot of hubbub on Instagram, or just about Instagram, about how like, it can be really fake, because you put up your photo and you put on your filters and you crop it all perfectly, and then you set it out there and it seems like, oh my gosh, like, ooh, I was at Machu Picchu and look at this beautiful shot. Oh, it's so wonderful and amazing. And then the reality of it is there's like a gajillion other people on tours all standing in front of you. Like if you go to basically any giant tourist attraction, there's always zillions of people there. And so to get a shot without any other people in it is pretty rare.
That's right. Unless you go super early or somehow, I don't know.
Yeah,
super late.
Yeah, so this article was actually specifically talking about travel photos on Instagram and how people kind of make the whole travel scene a lot faker than it is. But my kind of thoughts on the article are that you get that with basically any kind of photo. That's what like, especially if you're putting it on Instagram, you're not putting your whole library of photos up. You're taking like some of your best photos and trying to put it out there and make it look good and attract people. What does a magazine do on the cover?
Exactly.
That's super fake too, right? You see Beyonce on there, or Scarlett Johansson, all skinny, perfect skin, all toned up. They're trying to get you to buy the magazine, right? They make it seem so perfect, and you're like, wow, like, oh, she's so hot, or he's so good looking, or whatever. Same thing, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't see what's wrong with putting up the best picture. It's, gives people a chance to be artistic too. And honestly, it's just really obvious to me when it has been photoshopped. So it's not like I'm totally tricked by the fact that, oh, this is the way the place looks, It's really obvious. But, I've seen pictures where it's all like cluttered with lots of people, and it's not really an image that's appealing to your eyes, So I don't see anything wrong with the fact if you want to Photoshop it.
Right, sure. Especially like if you're like a travel blogger and say you're making money. I mean, we're not, but like if you are, why are you going to put up ugly photos or photos that aren't attractive? Right? Mm-hmm. You want people to follow you. You want to like kind of like get the feeling or how awesome things are. Mm-hmm. You're not going to put up like some photo that looks like a pile of junk, mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. Or with all these people in, or somebody's like head in the shot or whatever. You choose photos, and like if I'm choosing my photos, I crop out stuff. I adjust light and stuff, because mm-hmm, you can't always take perfect photos. People who are traveling, we're not all professional photographers, right?
That's right.
And if you can touch your stuff up and make it look good, why not?
Right.
So, but I feel like the article is a bit cynical. Like they're showing the Leaning Tower of Pisa here, and then like they show like the perfect shot with the little statue in the Leaning Tower, and then they show what the reality is how everybody's like pretending to hold it up and stuff. And there's another one, like I said, with Machu Picchu and all the people there, or like the Great Wall. They show it like stretching out into the distance, but the reality they show with all the people like crowding around and stuff. But honestly, if you go to the Great Wall and it's like busy season, okay, you might get that crowd of people. But we went to the Great Wall even when it was busy, right. And if you just walk, like if you don't take the little cart or whatever to the top, if you just walk off to the side, there's hardly anybody, and you can see all that so easily.
Right.
You just have to do a little extra work, so it's not really fake at all.
Right. And honestly, like even if you do, just being devil's advocate here, and if you do take pictures with a lot of people in the shot, there's nothing wrong with that either, as long as it doesn't make your picture look terrible, because that is the reality, right? And sometimes it's really nice to see the reality. Sometimes you have all these locals around touristy places and you get these cool shots of people doing certain things, and to cut all that out sometimes is not so cool either.
Yeah, and I totally agree. It's the reality of the situation. You can put it in there, and like having other people in there sometimes you can capture them in a certain way that makes the picture look even better, right?
Exactly.
Not everything has to be perfectly isolated. So.
There's one picture in the article. It was the one where they showed London. I think it was the streets. Yeah, on the streets. The picture that was the actual reality, quite honestly, I liked it better. With the people walking with the umbrellas, and it's a rainy day, as opposed to the Big Ben, which was, reflecting.
Right, yeah. So they showed like the ideal photo, like, oh, how London's all rainy, and they have this like reflection of Big Ben in a puddle with like this like nice sky and stuff. And then they show the reality, how it's like all miserable, people walking around with umbrellas. But the people walking around with umbrellas and stuff are all silhouetted, and the pavement's all shiny. It looks kind of cool. It's actually a pretty nice shot. So like I don't see what they're complaining about. Like I said, I think the article's just being cynical.
It seems like the pictures that they're showing for the reality are just really bad pictures, except for this one particular one, which I thought was actually good.
So basically they're doing the same thing. Like if you're showing the ideal situation on your end with like the perfect shot, they're showing like the exact opposite. So they're just going to the other extreme, and then they're complaining that people are doing this thing on Instagram.
Right.
So like so I find you know what I say take your best shots, put them on Instagram, put all the filters and everything, tell everybody about your travels, especially you want to inspire people. That's all that you want to do, right? Like you feel good about your photos, you want to make other people feel good about traveling. Get out there and just do it, like don't take any criticism. Oh, that's not fake or that's not real. If you took the shot, it happened, right?
Right.
You crop it, you're making a piece of art. That's what photography is.
What about those people who make pictures of places where they've never been and then they put themselves in the picture? What about those kind of people?
I've never heard that. People do that?
Yeah, I've heard of this. They I don't remember exactly where it was, but there was this one girl. She told her family that she was going to go on this trip, and she sent her family the pictures, but she never ended up going on the trip. And she totally created this whole illusion.
Why did she do that?
I don't remember exactly why she did it, but in reality, she was doing something else with her time.
I think that's a little bit weird, to be honest. When you're photoshopping yourself and
that's
you're kind of creating
that.
Yeah, that's a bit of a lie because you weren't even there, and then it's not even your shot then, really, right?
I have a problem with that. Like, you're trying to present this fakeness to the world.
Yeah, you're passing it off as something that it really wasn't. Whereas if you just take your shot of the mountains or whatever and make a few crops and changes, it's still the mountains that were there. So anyways, if you want to check out the article for yourself, it's called Instagram versus Reality, How Travel Photos Are a Lie. And that is on travel section of the telegraph.co.uk website. So you can find it there. Just do a little search if you're interested in checking that out for yourself. I think that's it for today. We talked about a lot, right?
Yeah, we did.
So, let's keep traveling, and we'll let you know next week about what we're doing. So, we still have some work on the website to do. That's www.peregrinepals.com, but nothing's really up yet.
And our latest video on YouTube is about the discovery we made at Chiang Mai Airport Plaza, apple pie Kit Kat. From Japan.
That's right. So that video's up now.
That video has already been published, and it's a limited edition of Kit Kat, which was just released by the Japanese back in spring for Easter. So check that out. And like always, we have our Twitter account and Facebook. So go check that out and give us a little like so you can keep up to date with all our posts.
Yeah.
Again, we are publishing podcasts every Monday and weekly videos on Fridays, and we have also Instagram, and we have a new thing to share with you guys.
That's right. So starting probably this Wednesday, we are going to be doing a live Periscope.
Cool.
Yeah, so that should be Wednesday morning for those of us on this side of the world, in the Asian part of the world, and that would be, I guess, Tuesday evening? No, Wednesday mornings, Tuesday evening for those on the North American side of the world.
And for those of you who don't know and not familiar with this new thing that has actually just started early this year, Periscope, it's live streaming.
That's right.
So you can ask us questions and basically look at the world through our eyes live.
That's right. So you just get the app on your phone or tablet or whatever you have. You can watch us live. we are going to be trying some of the crazy snacks that we've seen here in Thailand. So you go around, there's different, like even if you go to 7-Eleven, there's different kind of snacks they have, like different flavors of Kit Kat from back home that are different from back home.
That's right.
Or, even just like crazy weird seafood snacks and stuff. So
insects and crickets and all kinds of grasshoppers.
There's that too, yeah. So we're going to grab a few and just try them out live and let you know how they are, and you can chit chat with us and give us little hearts on the Periscope app. So yeah, check the app out and try and check out our Periscope. So
yeah, we love hearts.
Once we kind of make it more regular, we'll let you know more what time it is and stuff. We're shooting for 9:30.
Sure, 9:30ish. That sounds good. So thank you so much for listening to our podcast.
Right on. Thank you.
And I hope you guys will tune in next time.
Of course. See you then.
Bye-bye.